Hey everybody, Josh Gary from JoshG.tv here, and this week's episode of In Review is about the video game The Saboteur. The Saboteur is Pandemic Studios' last release, and it kind of got a little bit of a mixed release because it came out with a bunch of other big name titles, some of them you may have heard of. Basically, The Saboteur is the story of Sean Devlin, who is an Irish car mechanic slash race car driver who gets locked up in World War II Nazi-infested Paris. Now, the story is very entertaining, but I will say this video game has an M rating for a reason. Sean has a little bit of a potty mouth. Now, a lot of the mini games that are involved in The Saboteur, you climb buildings like in Assassin's Creed. The Saboteur is very much like a Grand Theft Auto type video game, except it's in World War II Paris, and instead of criminals, you're fighting Nazis and such. Now, one neat little mechanic that this game has done right is anywhere you are in Paris that is controlled by the Nazis, it's in black and white. Now, as you liberate Paris, and sections of it become liberated and the people start fighting for you, it turns into color. And so there's a neat little thing where you'll be driving through Paris and it's all bright and it's sunny, and then all of a sudden it switches to black and white and you know you're in kind of big trouble because you're in Nazi-infested Paris. That is one thing that is done right. Now, I will say that the building climbing, like in Assassin's Creed 2, doesn't do it as well. I have found myself limiting the amount of time that I scale buildings, but there's certain missions that you kind of have to do it. The car driving isn't as fluid as some of the cars that you steal in Grand Theft Auto. It seems like there is a single pivot point in the car, so it makes driving kind of difficult, but it's not that big of a hassle. Usually you use cars to get from point A to point B. I've heard a lot of people talk about how the combat isn't done very well. I thought it did pretty good. It doesn't have a lock-on mechanic like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption. It definitely is more of a twitch where you actually have to aim the target little reticule circle crosshairs wherever you want to shoot. And of course you've got silenced pistols, sniper scopes, rifles, machine guns, grenades, all this stuff. Combat is very intuitive. There's not really a big huge learning curve to it. I will say there is a very good story to it. In general, it is a good game that just could have had a little bit more polish, and it could have been released at another time. It was, like I said, all those other releases that came out around the same time kind of stifled its release. So all in all, JoshG.tv, me personally, I'm going to give The Saboteur from Pandemic Studios a 3.5 G. Like I said, some of the sub-games, the climbing and the driving, could have been done a little bit better. But overall, the story was very enjoyable. The acting in it, could have used some help. But Sean Devlin and whoever does his voiceover definitely makes it a lot more interesting to listen to. As like Sean Devlin says, it's a piece of piss. This has been Josh Gary from JoshG.tv, and we'll see you next time.